So I've started eating a lot more cactus once again. I'm pretty fortunate to have several little Mexican stores, grocery stores, markets here in my area, in my neighborhood, and in the neighborhoods here in Rockford, Illinois. And I just recently got my bike tuned up, and so I've been riding my bike. It's also really convenient to get to all these markets, um, either walking or I just jump on the bus out in front of the my home out here. But so this is a really beautiful cactus. It's really lively. It's not dehydrated. You can tell because it's nice and firm. See how it stands up, you know? And these here, I've already eaten two small paddles, probably about this size here. You can see my size of my hand here, okay? You can see the thickness there. I've already eaten two, and I think this packet here costs me about $3, maybe a little bit more than $3, maybe like 3.25. Now that's a significant amount that's a good investment there. But if you think that if you're going to go buy a canned vegetable that has all its nutrients uh, bleached out of it pretty much, and it's got tons of salt in the brine, in a canned vegetable like corn. Now, corn's not even a vegetable. I mean, that doesn't even make sense to buy that garbage. But let's say peas or green beans or something like that. A can of vegetables is $1. Okay, so do the math. There's 3 paddles there, and these are huge. Okay, this is a big one. Now, I could easily eat all of these cactus at one sitting, but I split them up into 2 meals per day. So this here will be 2 meals for the day here, even though these are a significant amount of cactus here. That's a lot, okay? Now, I could run one of these through the blender or the NutriBullet with a piece of pineapple and some water, and that'd be good, or a small one like this, or I could just have a small one like this and make a little salad. But I'm going to cook 2 of these right now. I'm going to cook these 2 right here, right now, for my late breakfast today. And I like to just salt them a little bit. I'll put a salt on the pan. And actually, you know what, folks? Today, I am not going to salt them. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to salt them. Because salt draws out liquid from stuff. And as you can tell, these have already been cleaned, okay? They have the spines removed. And I buy them like that for convenience. I can clean them myself, but, for another 50 cents, 75 cents, hey, I'll let somebody else clean them. Now I'm just going to rinse them off, wash them off, and I'm going to place them in the pan, nice and hot. You'll hear it sizzle. And without the salt, the mucilage is not going to be drawn out. Now, what is mucilage? Now, I just really picked up that word yesterday watching a YouTube video. Mucilage is the liquid that's in these plant products, these cactus, these paddles, pads, okay? And what happens is that when you put salt on it and you cook it, especially in any type of liquid, the additional liquid, like if I were to put these in a little bit of liquid or boil them like a lot of people do, it draws out all that liquid, all that mucilage that's inside the paddle, okay? All that is liquid in there. Now, when the person used a razor blade to trim these off, a lot of the mucilage came out, and it's on that knife. But when they move really fast, and that's why I use a razor blade, and then it scars, it heals, it dries up like that, that mucilage remains in here, and that's why this is so firm, okay? Now, I see a lot of videos where people boil these. They put them in a pan with water, and they boil them, or they cut them into pieces, first of all, or squares or whatever. Let's say this was cut into strips. Each one of these would be like 4 strips. And then they put them in some water. They purposely draw out the mucilage. Now, if you can think of like aloe vera mucilage, juice, liquid, the stuff that you buy at the store, like either in like a little vial or a squeeze bottle or something like that, it's very sticky, okay? And some of you have an idea what else looks like that, okay? All right? And maybe that's why people draw it out, because they're kind of grossed out by that thin, clear film, okay? But if you think about how these cactus grow, They grow in the desert, very little water. Okay. Now you can see this is just this right here. Oh yeah, this is the mucilage already starting to come out of the pores where the spines were at. Okay, and that's actually more water. That's steam. You can see steam forming on here too. Okay, that's okay. That doesn't really bother people. But the mucilage that's in there, in my opinion, based on observation, if you think about it, the environment that cactus has to survive in, it's holding on to its life force. So it's got to have a lot of really good properties and a lot of health benefits. So why would I want to remove that? And that's why when my mom showed me how to cook these on either a comal, which this is basically a comal with a lip around it, a pan, I said to myself, wow, hey, I really like that. I really like the way that cooks, and it cooks fast. Now, if you're in a hurry and you don't want these to be like cooked all the way through, and I don't cook them so that they're like mushy or anything like that. I cook them just, basically all I want to do is I just want to kill any bacteria that's on the outside of them. You know what? Sure, I rinse them off and I wash them, but everything has a little bacteria or something like that. And some of it's good, okay, and some of it's not so good. You don't want to have that on there. Now, I'm pretty sure that in Mexico they don't really use a lot of pesticides on the cactus because one, it's a cost, and they don't need to, okay? Because there's really not a lot of things that are going to be bothering these things. There's some things like slugs might like affect them. I know I saw slugs on ours in Mexico, but I don't think that's a huge problem down there. But I'm not 100% sure. I don't grow these and I don't harvest these for financial purposes. So that's worth something researching. But in my opinion, I don't think they use a lot of pesticides on these. So anyways, you rinse them off, and that's it. I'm not putting salt on them anymore. I decided not to put salt on them. And the reason I'm not putting salt on them, my mom showed me you sprinkle salt, coarse salt on the bottom, and then you drop these on top, and then you salt a little bit more. I'm not putting salt on them because salt draws out liquid, and I don't want to draw that mucilage out. Now, even these areas that are thick right here, you don't really need to cook those all the way through. Just kind of like, a couple more minutes and that's it. It's got a nice little crunch to it. They have a tart little flavor, like maybe if you were to combine asparagus and okra together, that's what you would get. And then that little clear film, the mucilage inside, is like the aloe vera. And so aloe vera and cactus are very similar. In fact, when I got a burn in Mexico one time, and it was a good burn, like I yelled like I yelled up. I taught my friends, my Mexican friends, some really good French American words, and they were laughing their asses off. But anyways, so these are almost done. I mean, I could eat these just like that perfectly. If you have a grill outside, just throw these directly on the fire, right on the coals, or on the grill or on the grate for 2-3 minutes on each side, and that's perfect, and then you slice them up, you throw them on top of a taco or tortilla, or you chop them up into small pieces. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chop an onion, some serrano peppers. I don't have a tomato, so I'm not going to use tomato. I'll use vinegar instead for my acid, and some cilantro, and I'm going to make a salad, and that's what I'm going to have. That's going to be my meal for this morning, okay? And you might ask, well, where are you getting your protein from? Well, I'll have protein later on in the day, or at another time of the day. Right now, I just want something to entertain my belly, okay? And so this is a good option. So I'm going to prepare these, like I said, in a salad form. So I'm going to turn this off now, and I'm just going to let them sit there another minute or two. And that's it, folks. Here, you know what? I'll watch you make I'll let you watch my quick salad here. So I remove these from the heat, and the best thing is if you can put them like on a rack, so the air gets underneath them. But that's okay because they're pretty thick. I'm gonna let them cool off in the refrigerator. I could even put them in the freezer. Yeah, let's just put them in the freezer. Put them in the freezer. So I ate half of this squash last night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly, probably like 2 minutes with a little bit of butter and a little bit of garlic, and maybe not even the garlic because I'll add that later, in the warm pan here, and add the rest of the ingredients. So I cut the zucchini here a little on the big side, which is fine because I don't really want them to cook too much. And this is just a little bit of butter, okay? Just to coat them. And just give them a nice quick little saute there, about another minute or two. 2 minutes at the max. So I just placed the zucchini into this pan here. So it cooked probably about 2 minutes, and it's going to continue to cook there in its own little heat right there, especially since it's in a bowl. And then I'll prepare the other ingredients right now. So I like my onion really small and very thin, so you're not biting into big chunks of onion. And then I'll add the serrano peppers and cilantro, and we'll get this all together. So I put the squash in the freezer also for about a minute or so. And here's the mucilage I'm talking about. You can see it. Once I cut these into chunks or strips or whatever, the mucilage will come out. But it's, you know what? It's okay, folks. It's okay. When you have these other ingredients that are very fine, chopped, it takes care of that mucilage appearance and look, because it has a lot of surface area in these little small ingredients, and so then it all just binds to these things here. Anyways, let's continue. So what I have here is cilantro, a clove of finely chopped garlic, 1 serrano pepper, and a small piece of finely chopped white onion. And then over here, the nopales and the zucchini. All right, so I just sliced this into 4 long strips lengthwise, and there you can see the mucilage. See it's sticking between the strips there. Watch. Okay. So that's why I didn't add salt to it, because I didn't want it getting drawn out of these little small scar tissue areas here. So here you can see I got all the cactus chopped up into nice big pieces, and there's not a lot of gooey drippiness all over the place. However, when I add salt to it, it will start drawing out of these areas here. But you see, it's not a big mess. It's not a big mess. And once you add these other ingredients, it gives it that texture that doesn't give you that slimy feeling. Now I just added all my ingredients, and what I added some salt, some coarse salt. I added some black pepper. I added some cumin, powdered cumin, a little bit more powdered garlic, and a couple of good splashes of red wine vinegar. And then I'm going to squeeze about a half a lime on this. And I'm going to let this marinate for a few minutes, put it in the refrigerator, and then this is going to be my first meal of the day. So this is the last step, some lime. And this is just a starter, folks. You can add some nice gently blanched tender green beans to this. Maybe a can of chickpeas, drained, cleaned. Some drained, cleaned black beans also. Some really nice frozen fresh peas would be really nice in this, I think. And then just use these spices and these, this combination. And, be creative. Do whatever you want to do. If you want to add some other ingredients, let's say you're not vegan or you're not vegetarian and you want to add maybe some baby shrimp or something in there, or maybe some cold strips of chicken, and definitely avocado. I mean, avocado without a doubt. Come on, that's like the Virgin Mary here, man. Come on down here and bow to her. That's the avocado goddess. But I don't have avocado. And that's another thing I want to share with you folks, is if you don't have something, work with what you got. I don't have tomatoes. Big deal. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to run to the store and get tomatoes. I'm going to use what I have. If I only had nopales, salt, and garlic, hey, that's the meal for the day. And that's perfectly fine, folks, until you have all your ingredients that you want, okay? Living simple, folks. This is a minimalist lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, trying to aim to go a little bit more vegan in my meals. and also sharing, this adventure with folks. Take care, folks. Take care of each other.